it's your old pal Slim, and this is 70mm, a podcast for film fans just like you. And with me, as always, is my close friend and artist, Danny Haas.
Hello.
And our close friend and movie insider, Protolexis.
This episode brought to you by the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. The awards by men, for men.
Every episode is connected to a theme for that month, and this time it's 1 million month. We've chosen movies from the 1 million watched club, Alexander's List on Letterboxd, and now it's my turn, baby. Alex Garland's EX MACHINA, and you can use the chapters in your podcast app to skip right to that discussion if you want. I mean, the big news is if you've been waiting to hear Danny's thoughts on AI, ChatGPT,
Mine?
and Apple's 30% in-app tax, your time has finally come in this episode. We're starting a tradition of starting with breaking news. The big news again.
Oh.
Netflix getting the rights to Monday Night Raw. WWE. Did you see this news?
Oh,
You heard about this?
Well,
God.
no. Will I have to pay more for it?
Didn't you cancel Netflix?
No, not yet. They
That
did
was
raise
Disney
my prices.
Plus.
Oh, that's right. You canceled Disney Plus.
Disney
I don't
Plus.
think next year. It starts next year, 2025.
Oh, okay. We got time.
Monday Night Raw on Netflix streaming with ads. They have ads though, so you're gonna have to just watch ads.
That's fine. That's pretty cool.
I'm excited. Proto, are you excited?
Can you tell me, in the echelon of wrestling events, where does Monday Night Raw fit in?
Pretty low. I mean, it's weekly.
Okay.
It's 3 hours long.
3 hours with ads?
3 hours every Monday night. People are plopping down in front of the USA Network to watch.
Would I have the chance to see Sting on Raw?
No, he's not on Raw. He's on AEW.
Oh, he's an AEW boy. That's
Yeah,
right.
The franchise. Your boy.
Yeah.
You're like best friends with Sting, aren't you?
We've exchanged emails,
Oh.
Leave it at that.
me and
Okay.
him.
Man of mystery.
What is the biggest wrestling event?
WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, which we'll be watching in
I
person.
can't believe we're watching Royal Rumble together.
Those are like quarterly or something, right? Those aren't
Yeah,
like,
they have monthly pay-per-view events, or they're called
Okay.
premium live events. But SmackDown,
Cool.
I think, is the most popular one right now. That's Fridays on Fox.
But SmackDown's free?
I'm sorry, we're spending way too much time on wrestling.
Please.
My producer hat is getting way tight.
You got
we went over my allotted mental 30 seconds of wrestling talk.
You didn't think we would continue the conversation.
No, I don't like it when you guys engage in my bits. This is not working out for me. Okay, folks? Oscars came out today as of recording. We're recording very early in the week. Proto, you did a live video show in Discord this week. Very popular show this morning. Any thoughts about how it went and maybe for the future?
Oh, I thought it went great. We had a bunch of people jump in. You know, I had been toying with this idea. Me and our producer Dale have been, we've been in the back room experimenting with live video feeds, feeding your audio through Discord, getting all that worked, connecting the wires, the mixer, everything that needs to be done. Dale has walked me through it, and we were able to set something up here. And I was looking for an opportunity to do some video streaming, if I can be frank.
Mm-hmm.
And, Oscar nominations dropped, and I figured what better moment than to get out there, put myself out there and talk about it live on the air.
Yeah.
Over the airwaves.
You did great.
It went amazing. Loved it.
Thank you.
Posted a few stories to our Instagram. Perfect
I think
timing to you.
Yeah.
What are you going to say?
I was going to say, I think I covered a lot of the big notes. I mean, the Godzilla -1 snub for the best picture. The Greta snub for Best Director.
Yeah.
Margot snub.
Some Ryan Gosling did he get nominated?
Got nominated.
Yeah. That wasn't a dream. Yeah. Ryan Gosling nominated for Best Supporting Actor in Barbie. So, yeah. A lot of interesting decisions made by the Oscars
creator,
this year.
Best visual effects, our sweet boy, Gareth. Getting some props.
Come on the show.
Thank you, Gareth.
Come on anytime, Gareth.
Please.
Talk about whatever you want. So long as it's not Mortal Engines, we're not doing it.
Or Star Wars.
Rogue One for the 7th time on the show. I mean, it'd be pretty funny to think about, like, a couple years in the future, we've covered Rogue One like 8 times.
Oh my God.
Like a different guest. Our penance over time. We should talk about next month too. I didn't realize this, but it's next week.
It's time.
Our next month theme for February. That's how you pronounce that month. We've done this theme before.
Yes.
It's the first time in 3 years that we've done it.
Oof.
To the month.
What?
Did you know that? Did you know that?
We did it
Pardo,
in February?
Wow.
We did it in February 2021.
Good God.
We're going back. It's Faves Month Volume 2.
Finally.
God, remember Faves Month?
Yeah.
Rocketeer, RoboCop, and whatever proto pick.
Nacho Libre?
Nacho Libre. So, Proto, you're choosing next week. And we announced this month in advance all the episodes. And we were talking before the pre-show if we should do it week to week or if we should just announce all of them. Does anyone in live chat have a preference? Should we just announce all of them or do week to week this month? Let us know in live chat because you might select how we do this. Oh my God, everyone says all.
Oh my God.
They want it all.
Everyone except Mosh.
Mosh stands alone.
There's a few ban Mosh comments. It'd be pretty funny to ban Mosh for 24 hours just for saying to announce them all at once. Gets kicked out of the app. All right, so it sounds like we're announcing all of them.
Wow.
Maybe we should do that now because I don't think either of you have watched any movies this week, according to your letterbox.
That's
that
true.
we can talk about.
I mean, we have
some time to fill.
Thursday.
We start with Proto. This is
All
next
right.
week for Faves Month. Lay it out for us.
Lay it out. This is a movie that I have wanted to do for a long time. It's been at the top of my list to do at the show. And honestly, every couple months, I think of like, how can I make this happen? I've been thinking this for 4 years. How do I make this happen?
4 years.
Mainly, well, actually, I don't want to say that. I would spoil it. I would spoil the thing I'm about to say in 10 seconds. So my pick is First Man.
Yes.
Oh,
Proto.
2018, Damien Chazelle. I'd only seen this once. Me and Jenna saw this in theaters. I loved this movie when I saw it.
Yes.
I have been waiting to do a rewatch when we cover it on the show, and now is the time. We're doing
Thank
First Man, finally.
God, I want to kiss you on the lips right now.
Gosling.
Yes. He's back.
He's back.
Oscar nominated. I've never seen this movie. The only thing I know about this movie is you guys were like,
Oh, you've never seen it?
I've never seen it. I just know you guys were like slobbering, kissing each other whenever you talk about this movie.
Yes.
Slobbering.
Oh, this is big.
Damien Chazelle. Not sure if anyone is familiar with that director, but that's the same director as La La Land and Whiplash and Babylon.
Huge.
So
Now that
get ready.
Now that we'll do Damien, we don't have to do him ever again. So we're good.
Could be true.
All right, Danny, you're up next.
Yeah, I'm next.
On the calendar.
I looked at my top 4, and of my top 4, we've covered 3. But I'm not in the mood to cover Psycho.
Oh.
So I'm not picking Psycho to go through my top 4. So I was trying to figure out what would be like a fave, like what genre fave. And I decided to go my favorite James Bond movie, Casino Royale.
Oh
my God.
So we're doing Casino Royale next.
Yo, is this our first
Martin
Bond?
Campbell.
After our watch along,
the,
yes.
On the main feed, yeah.
Yeah.
Martin Campbell, the same director as The Mask of Zorro and Green Lantern. Casino Royale.
You never missed.
And once we do him, we don't have to do him ever again.
These are just jokes, folks. Martin also did GoldenEye. So everyone calm down.
That's right.
Was freaking out and listening to this app.
But yeah, I wanted to pick like something my favorite of some sort of genre. And I would consider Bond movies out of, how many there are. So I'd pick my favorite Bond because it's time for us to cover a Bond.
Good Lord. Faves Month Volume 2, rocking along. I'm not choosing Vanilla Sky. Just saying that outright. It's not happening.
Could have been huge.
I know everyone's expecting me to choose it. Kev actually asked me to talk about Vanilla Sky potentially for the Austin Danger Pod episode 100. I said
God.
I said no because we would talk about it on 70mm. But honestly, I'm not sure if I'm ready to talk about Vanilla Sky just yet. RoboCop, like I'm the same way about RoboCop. I feel like there was a period of time this year where it was just like RoboCop was like
enough
my thing. Like it's too much of my personality. So I need to just slow down on RoboCop. Like I need to separate from RoboCop for a while. I don't want to just be the RoboCop guy.
Yeah.
So I said I was locked pre-show. But I have two movies.
Unlocked. Here we go.
So because there's two that I would like think that maybe it is time. Well, one that I think might be time. And then the second one is more of like a left field pick, but it's one of my favorite movies. I think it might be a fun discussion. Personally, I feel like I want to do both.
How do we do both?
Maybe we do one of them is a supporter only, or one of them is like a bonus episode. I don't know. Could be 3 more years before we get
what
to
I'm hearing, Proto?
Phase Volume 3.
Weaselly get 2 of his phase.
This guy.
God. How many weeks are in February? Oh, there's probably not even 4 weeks in February. Do we look at this calendar
it's the shortest
yet?
month of the year.
My God. I'm looking at the calendar here. How many weeks do we? 1, 2, 3. Damn. Okay, so it's not happening. We're tentatively recording an episode at our lakehouse trip with producer Dale. We asked Dale, what's one of your faves that you would want to do? So this will be a supporter-only episode. And this was a shocking pick.
Yeah. You talk about left field.
You talk about... Not yet, Casey. I'm wearing it. I'm dragging it out.
God.
I'm on Dale's pick. So Dale is going to have a supporter-only episode just for patrons. Jon Favreau. Does that name ring a bell to anybody? Jon Favreau, 1996 Swingers.
Yeah.
That will be recorded in a few days, and it'll drop at some point in February. All right, so I have 2 movies.
Just put them, but just slot them in, Slim. We'll do both.
I'm just going to say them.
Whatever you need, Slim.
1993 Carlito's Way.
Oh, Carlito's
I think
Way.
that would be a really fun episode to do.
Okay.
Al Pacino, Sean Penn. It's one of my favorite movies. I love that movie. I know, wow, it's a 4.0 on Letterboxd. It's pretty high. I thought that was like a 3 lower or whatever. My other pick that I can't decide between is Logan.
Oh,
I think it might be time
God.
for Logan. Danny has not seen this movie. Enough years have
slot them
passed.
both in, Slim.
Are you telling me we're doing both of those movies in
I'm
February?
saying it right now. This is our February.
We need to continue to innovate. So we'll figure it out. Ahead of Deadpool. So that is pretty good branding.
Synergy.
Oh my God,
I got the chills.
The synergies right now. Pardo, what do you think about the month so far? You've heard the movies now. It's still up in the air how we're going to figure out Carlito's Way and Logan, but how do you feel knowing these movies?
I think I love my pick. I'm very excited for my pick. I have seen Casino Royale. I remember liking Casino Royale, but it's been a long time and I've come a long way.
You have.
So, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Carlito's Way, I've never seen.
Oh.
And I I know this is one of your favorites. You've talked about this movie many times. I've seen you log this movie many times. So I've wanted to watch it. So I'm very excited to watch that for the first time.
What about Logan?
Logan, I have seen Logan. I don't know what I thought of it. This is BLB Logan.
Before Letterboxd.
Before Letterboxd. So I'm not really sure my impression on that. Other than the violence. Very violent.
Very violent. A lot of cursing in Logan.
Is there?
Brian De Palma, Proto's boy, directed Carlito's Way. De Palma's back. All right, so that's February, folks. We're changing it up, and I think as of recording, Hunger Games will be out Friday for supporters. We're trying something new with that little drop thing on Patreon, and Sing Street got pushed back a little bit. Originally, we thought it was going to be January, but I think that'll probably be February as well. Where do we go from here? We got to announce this week's winner for Patron. Letterboxd Patron. Every week, you tag your reviews in advance of the episode, 70mm Pod. You get entered into potentially win a free year of Letterboxd Patron. Disclaimer, I'm a Letterboxd employee. There is going to be a lot of episodes in February. Becky. Gets rid of ads. You can do custom posters. You can do a custom backdrop on your profile with one of your favorite movies. This week's winner logged Ex Machina. J. Hendrico.
Okay.
Left a review. Every 70mm Pod listener quietly thinking about doing a Turing test on ChatGPT this week. We were all thinking it. Okay. I think it passes, honestly. Anything else we want to talk about before we get into this movie?
Well, me and Danny didn't watch any movies, but did you watch any movies, Slim?
I did. I mean, as many people can assume, we did watch other things that we just can't log. But I did watch World War Z with Brad Pitt. You heard about this?
I saw something about a scarf. He has a great scarf in the movie. I've never seen
fashionable, like, wartime scarf he wears in this movie.
Wartime scarf? What does that even mean?
You know, like if you're a war photographer, chances are they're wearing a scarf of some kind. You know?
What?
War fatigues. You could just search a photo of Brad in World War Z. You'll see it. I had never read the book. So this came out in 2013. The people really seem to love the book, World War Z, by Max Brooks, who was Mel Brooks' son, which I didn't realize.
What?
But I guess the format of the book is very different. It's like interviewing people, like accounts of this like outbreak zombie thing that takes place. But we watched it as a family. I texted James that we're going to watch this zombie movie. You want to join us? And he's like, I'll watch a little bit. And he ended up watching the whole thing. So fun family movie night. I really liked World War Z. I think I really liked it the first time I saw it too. Have you guys seen it?
I remember the trailer. No, I've never seen it. And there's always that insane shot of the zombies piling up on each other on the wall. The helicopter is trying to fly over or something.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm laughing. Proto posted
There's the scarf.
You can see the scarf, right? It's a nice scarf.
Yeah.
It works for Brad. It would only work for Brad, probably.
I don't know if anything doesn't work for Brad.
But I thought the outbreak of this like rabies, like they thought it was like some form of rabies. I thought it was pretty realistic. It reminded, like, not to bring up the pandemic, which we're currently still in, but it seems like, you know, about how it shifts around. It's not very zombie-like. It's just I thought it was a good movie. It's a 3.1 average on Letterboxd. A lot of people that I follow that have logged it years ago just dumped on it. Like it's got dumped on for a long time. So your mileage may vary.
I have seen this, but I don't really have much memory of it. I feel like I remember it being kind of like almost like an international sleuth movie where he's like traveling around the world.
Yeah, he's like a detective. Happen? Yeah, he gets like brought in because he's been on missions in the past where he like needed to get information and no one can do it like him. So in that respect, it's kind of corny, but still
Does
pretty
he
good.
ever like flip the scarf over his shoulder? Like slow-mo?
No. I was about to say you got to watch what happened. I just
trying to find a reason to watch this movie.
It's on Paramount Plus, folks. Okay, so if you need a popcorn weekend movie with the fam, this is your movie. But we need to talk about Ex Machina. This is the movie for this week. For 1 million month. Closing things off, 2015, Alex Garland, AI, robots, the rest. Perda, what's this movie about?
Caleb Smith is a coder working at the search engine company Blue Book. Nathan, the founder and stable genius behind the company, lives on a remote property where he is working on a secret project. Caleb wins a contest to visit Nathan and discovers that Nathan has done 1 million man-hours worth of work by himself to create an artificial intelligence and a lifelike android for it to live in. Caleb has been brought here to meet with the AI named Ava and help Nathan determine if she is indeed conscious. But can Nathan dial back his douchebag meter and learn to work collaboratively with just one person? Can Caleb stop thinking about porking an android for 2 seconds? I forgot to add a final sentence to this synopsis. Ex Machina.
I feel like this movie, nobody watches this movie anymore. I don't know if it came out like at a certain point where people just know about it and don't rewatch it a lot, but I don't know. I just feel like I don't hear anything about Ex Machina or see people rewatching it. And so like I was looking up, recent reviews. I feel like a lot of people that we know haven't watched this in years since it came out. And myself included. I haven't watched it since it came out. Pardo, what about you?
No, I haven't watched it either. I did want to rewatch it though, because I remember being pretty impacted the first time I saw it. I think particularly the ending, and we'll get into it.
Save it.
But yeah, I think I didn't want to rewatch it because I figured eventually we'd cover it on the show. And here we are.
Mm-hmm. Danny?
I saw this on an airplane, I believe, for the first time years ago. So I had to like cover half my screen for a lot of it at the end. But yeah, I remember it coming out, and I think I always just assumed it was a comic book movie based on the comic, the Brian K. Vaughan book. And so I never really got around to watching, and this may have been like my first A24 movie, now that I think about it. But yeah, I've only seen this once.
All right, so we'll go around the room. We jot some notes down as we watch these movies, and we'll go round table with some thoughts, have a nice little discussion about the future of our civilization, and then we'll give our final letterbox rating. So this is my pick. I guess I'll go first. It's pretty crazy how much has changed since this movie came out. Like a lot of the stuff where he arrives at his estate and he's like, "Are you building an AI?" Like now, when I heard him say that, I was like, "Oh my God, that's so corny." Now, like, because there's AI, machine learning, GPTs, whatever the hell you want to call it. They're like everywhere, and every little startup has their own large language model. They're building an app. There's 5 apps that you're aware of. And it's like ChatGPT has become like this hugely mainstream thing. I think for a while it was like the fastest or the most downloaded app in the App Store in history. Like it hit some crazy number. ChatGPT.
Really?
And then Threads, I think, like dethroned it. So ChatGPT and like the idea of using an AI is almost like commonplace now. So that's like one of my main thoughts. It's watching this movie with like under a different lens. It was just very fascinating to see like the reaction of him talking about an AI, but also that AI and a robot are almost like intertwined. Because when he talks about an AI and he explains how he built one, it's a robot that walks out in front of him. And he's like, it's just assumed that was the AI. And in my mind, like an AI is just a screen. Like it could be on anything. It's not a robot, like a physical robot. So that was one thing that really kind of like slapped me in the face on this viewing.
Yeah, I thought this pretty much the same thing. I don't know if calling it dated is the right thing to say, but it did feel in a way almost like kind of corny. Just the way it's presented. But I mean, that's not to say that, if someone came out now, like a company that we never heard of and said, like, we had a breakthrough and we developed AI, in a way that's so much more advanced than anyone else. I feel like that could happen. So like that idea that, like maybe this one company was working on something and it's just so far further ahead than anything else is believable. But I guess like the framing of this is that like there's no AI, and then this one guy living in this house by himself does all the work on his own and like makes this thing. It actually in a lot of ways reminded me almost of like the story of Frankenstein's monster, of like a mad scientist on his own, like doing the impossible. But it was like, the story is much more grounded in realism. So I think that like, even that it was kind of hard for me to get there to believe that like this could actually happen in the way that it's presented.
Yeah. I guess like if they had phrased it, sorry, Danny, if they had phrased it like I built a robot with a consciousness, that maybe would have been less corny, but that could also just be how we view the word AI now in 2024.
Yeah. I actually never found any of this to be corny. And I think it's because I know the AI conversation is different now, but the idea that there's an actual android that is this advanced in real life still seems way in the future. I mean, I know there's like, I've seen the androids from, I forget who made them, but they did like this, they were doing like speeches from a podium, and it was clunky and weird and not cool like this. So I think the corniness kind of doesn't really hit me because this still feels very future tech. The conversations around AI and even the conversations with Oscar's character kind of felt like super relevant in a way, with this tech billionaire thinking he's made this. I mean, he did make it, but just what he's done is like played God. It just felt somewhat relevant to our time now. But yeah, I actually never found any of it corny. It's interesting you guys did.
I think if someone had come out with the robot now, that would be like mind blowing, and the robot was able to have these full conversations. Like that is crazy. And like that would be a generational leap for us today. I think it really is just down to the tech itself, the actual body of Ava and that kind of, fluid robot person having that you could easily mask into another human being and not even know you're talking to a robot. That feels still so far in the future. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Danny, what's at the top of your list for this viewing?
I think the top of my list is talking about Alicia and her portrayal of Ava as Ava. I think her performance of the android is, for me, the most convincing, and my favorite kind of parts of this movie. She does such an incredible job displaying what it would be like as to witness an android. She has just enough familiar like stuff to where it's like, this is a human. But then there's like little bits of her movements and mannerisms that you're quickly reminded she's just a robot. I think her performance is incredible. I can't get over how good she is in this film. And I love her story arc going from, meeting this person and just her manipulation of him for this whole film. I honestly, only seeing this once, I forgot in this entire movie and what happened. So it felt good to kind of almost see this with fresh eyes again. And I just can't get over her performance. She's incredible in this. And I watched a documentary called Through the Looking Glass, and it was like the making of this film. And she was cast because she was previously a ballerina, and she has the ability to hold her body and move in a way that's very stiff and, you know, I guess proper isn't the right word, but you know what I mean. But also watching her perform in the suit that she has to wear with the kind of it's like a prosthetic face as well that goes around her ears and the gray suit. It's just incredible what they also did with the CGI of her, because it looks incredible still to me. I think it still holds up really well. The AI bits of her body.
Yeah, I think her the android body that she's in. Honestly, while I was watching it, I didn't know like how they did it. And I was curious. I was like, is she just wearing like a green suit and it's all CGI, or is it like a body skin suit that looks like that and then like they touched it up afterwards?
So there's a bit you can watch where, because she's wearing the gray suit that, you know, the part that covers her head, the like hexagonal whatever you want to call it, the kind of gray suit. It's her full body is in that suit except for her hands and her feet. And they honestly it's not even a green screen. They just edited it out and CG'd over her abdomen and her forearms. And it's really impressive work, because when you talk like 2015 of something like that level of holding up this long, something we have to stare at for a very long time on the screen to easily pick out what's wrong with it. It's incredible work.
Yeah. When I saw this for the first time, I didn't know who Alicia Vikander was. And I think at the time, I assumed that it wasn't even a real actress.
Yeah.
Like in my head, she wasn't even a real person.
Yeah.
It was that believable to me.
Yeah. She has like so many facial expressions where it feels like a CGI face, and it's not.
She was in that Tomb Raider reboot as Tomb Raider, I think.
Yeah, she was Tomb Raider.
Yeah, I was curious. I read on the wiki about how like they didn't use like any green screen whatsoever, and I was like, what? How? Or like no dots or, you know, whatever, green suit. It just didn't make any sense in my brain. Prado, top of your list?
Top of my list is that my reaction to this movie is very different than the first time I saw it. I think when I thought of this movie, I think I thought mostly of the end and how much I enjoyed like the punch of her walking out and turning her back and having played Caleb this whole movie. Like that felt so good the first time I saw it, and I was like stunned by the ending and really loved it. Watching it again though, and kind of like what Danny was saying of like forgetting most of what happens before that, I think like having the knowledge of where this movie is going, it makes it so that like the ending isn't going to be as impactful as the first time you see it. So it put more weight on the front half of the movie. And like that portion of the movie doesn't really like land for me as much this time. And maybe it didn't the first time, but like you just watch the whole movie and the ending was just like, I was wowed by it, that I went away with like, wow, that was such a great ending. But watching these, to me, like two really unlikable dudes talk to each other for an hour and a half, and just kind of be annoying to me. It just didn't really do it for me this time as much. I don't know. What did you guys have a similar experience, or what did you think?
I did think the same, like the first 75% of this movie, I was like, I don't like this as much as I did last time. But I did still really enjoy the way it ended. Like it almost like made up for the first, 3/4 of the movie. I kind of forgot like how fast it just starts going. It's like 15 minutes in and she's on screen. It's like, okay. There's like no buildup whatsoever to this. It's like I nowadays people like Nathan, like we have several of those billionaires that are at the forefront of AI. And that is like a weird statement to say now. In like 10 years ago, that would have been a nonsense statement to say. Because like none of this was at like mainstream research. But even on this viewing, I think Caleb was way more of a dork this viewing. Like I couldn't grasp why and I guess this is probably the point of the movie, but I couldn't grasp why he was almost so stunned about what was happening in this scenario. Like Nathan was building robots with AIs and decommissioning them and doing this over and over again. And Caleb sees this as almost like murder.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I guess the movie is probably supposed to elicit you asking yourself those questions, like what you view it. But I just couldn't understand how he would just flip that, like, I need to rescue this robot and we need to run away together. Like, it's just like, it was almost like nonsense to me. Like, you are a dork. What you don't need to rescue this robot. It's a robot. I don't know. And that was like, I wrote that down. I was like, am I supposed to feel for this robot? That's the whole point, isn't it? But I don't know. That was just my view in this viewing. I
actually really liked the bits with Donald and Oscar. I did find it very interesting how fast he falls for Ava. And it's so quick in the conversation where he tries to suss it out of Oscar that did you build her around my like porn searches? Like was this like
porn profile?
His porn profile was just like the woman I would fall for right away. And it felt like a conversation that it'd have a little bit more weight to it than just like, oh, was this the porn girl that I would search for? For it to like feel like, oh, this is really why he fell for her so fast and felt the need to rescue her and, I don't know, sweep her off her feet. I actually, yeah. My other point is just how much I didn't like the ending this time around. I think Proto brought it up. And I think I expected more of a struggle. Like more, I think I thought there was more of a fight with Oscar and the robots. The knife going into him from both sides, like butter, was very odd. Like it looked like it just like kind of went into him way too smooth, and it like, this is weird, and I didn't really enjoy that. There's something about the ending that it didn't land for me this time. I like him being locked up and not being able to get out, Donald. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I don't know. I was kind of reversed. I loved the conversations, but I hated the ending.
Well, some of that with like the ending, I just thought it just seemed silly to me that here's also this guy, like he's a super genius. He makes all this stuff and he has like this compound that's under lockdown, but then he like day drinks and gets blackout drunk while inviting this completely random guy that he really knows so little about to be at his house and to like give access to like this robot and things in the house. And then like, does he not, I mean, has he read any AI books about like robots not killing humans? Like, did he not think of any of these things? Or maybe you're supposed to assume that he did and like the robot worked around it. But there was just like certain things, and maybe like Alex Garland didn't want to go down that route because that's like not what his story's about. But there's like those very common things. I think that is so at the forefront of our minds when we think of AI and robots interacting with them. Like, can they harm us? You know, do no harm to humans. Like that is such an essential part of like these stories that it's like not even talked about or referenced in any way. Seems kind of like a miss to me.
Yeah. How is there not a big red button on the wall of every room? Shut off the robots. Like at any point, if something goes badly, he just has like a master cutoff switch.
Mm-hmm. Because like be on his body somewhere.
Yes, he needs to have a life alert around his neck. Because like Caleb, you know, codes that once the power goes off, the doors will be unlocked. And I just like, how do you not have a plan B through Z for if something goes wrong in this compound? Also, like, if he slips and falls and like breaks his leg, how long until someone helps him? Because he gets like knifed in the chest. He probably should have built a hospital nearby and just paid doctors to do nothing for 24 hours a day, because he's dead because you didn't have any, no one's going to help you. Didn't really make a whole lot of sense.
I also find it weird that he's this super genius who isn't figuring out why the power keeps going off on his compound. Like, it's power. Like, it's like the most basic of our needs, and he can't figure out why the power is cutting in and out of his compound.
Or did he know? Right?
Did he know Ava the whole time?
Right. Doesn't he have a conversation with Caleb at the end? He's like, I knew you guys were talking during the power outages. So
that's because he put a battery-operated camera.
Right.
That's how he knew. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. Because he does like understand what was happening between them. And I guess he does know a little bit about Caleb because he does all this research to make sure that he wins, and like it's a fake thing. He gets there. But man, you're dealing with a robot that you know is going to try to escape. You got to have some backup plans in place.
I also find it odd that she has the power to shut the place down, but not open a door.
Also, she said her charging is like inductive. How is she going to charge in the helicopter? Like, where's she getting power? How long does her power last?
Maybe she's
Did they ever
solar.
explain that?
She's a little bit of solar.
What if she croaks on the helicopter ride and then she just like dies? That's the end of the movie.
Lady, you good?
Use the puke bag if you need to back there. My next point. Yeah, I mean, I'm curious what you guys thought of the robots and their consciousness. And, it all comes back to me essentially feeling that Caleb was like essentially selfish to try to take this robot out and presumably just marry her and have robot kids. When this is like the most forward progress in civilization, like this cyborg, this android with potentially a consciousness. So I love the conversation about how they're talking about like, is she having a real emotion or is she simulating one? And like, is she just simulating what she thinks is happiness or sadness? Like, what is consciousness? Does it matter? And then him talking about he wanted to see if she could try to escape and use all her tools. And he says like, and she does. And if that is an AI, then what the F is? So I don't know. I guess I struggled at the end of like, it's a robot with fake emotions. What's the big deal? And I don't know if that like view is going to change over time, but I just had trouble connecting with like Caleb's decision making at the end of the movie.
Yeah. Well, he watched so it shows like that footage of him watching the one robot trying to like claw themselves out of the room, saying like, why won't you let me out? I need to get out. And I guess that is kind of the point, like, because they do have a lot of conversations about this, right? Like, this is the whole reason Nathan brought him here, is if we can determine if she is actually conscious or if she's just like simulating it and playing the part. And I think that's kind of like the separation between them two, where I think from Nathan, from his behavior and the way he's acted, is like he could produce all of these different androids, decommission them, format their memories, and start over and over again. So he clearly doesn't believe that Ava is yet conscious. Mm-hmm. Whereas because of Caleb's interaction with her, he's like fully bought in immediately. Like he believes she's a person. Almost. So like to him, it's as important as saving another human life as it is saving her own life, which like if you look at a movie like The Creator, right? Like that's kind of like the same conversation in that movie, right? The US just kind of sees them as like machines that can be made or destroyed, whereas the rest of the world sees them as like their own persons. Right. So it's like I think a similar conversation, and maybe that's more of the point, is that there's such a separation between Nathan and Caleb in the movie.
It's hard to talk about because now listening to Proto talk, it's like I don't know. My gears are turning more. I don't know. I really don't know. It's hard to say. Like if I was in Caleb's shoes, I feel like I would still get to the point where I would feel sorry, like feel like emotion for her, and treat her like a human. I think because of how, she would it responds, and I don't know. It's really weird. I don't like this conversation.
Yeah, I do find this movie. I found it really hard to formulate thoughts about this movie and just the ideas. Also because there's like a lot of, I think, like metaphor and like good symbolism in this movie as well. You could even say just like the glass walls between them, like separating them, like the boxes that they're put in, just the location that they're at is like she experiences the world and she has like these little trees that is like her world. And then she goes outside and she sees like the real forest. And there's like all these like parallels between artificial and real throughout the movie, that there really is like a lot going on that I had trouble really like kind of coming up with any, I think, meaningful thoughts about these questions as well.
Plus, it's also like his deciding to make it a woman, an attractive woman. I mean, they were all attractive women. What would, and that's also another statement, like what would Caleb have done if it was just like an unattractive man or something he wasn't sexually attracted to, perhaps.
Right. Yeah.
And how we use women, like you saw how Nathan was using, it was essentially like I had forgotten that was supposed to be like a big reveal that she was a robot.
Yeah.
The whole time I just like assumed or forgot that like, oh, that's a robot, right? His sex bot. And she ends up getting her sweet revenge on him. So there's a lot of subtext in this movie. Danny, next on your list?
I'm going to brag for a bit, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Let's talk set design and location. I've been to this filming location in Norway.
Here we go, folks.
I'm going to toot my own horn. The compound that's outside is a hotel in Norway called Juvet. It's called the Landscape Hotel. And we got to walk the grounds for a bit and go to the conference room. And this place is as amazing as it looks on screen. There's the scene where Nathan and Caleb are sitting on that like bench in the woods talking, looking back at his house. I've sat there. I've walked over there. The place is insane, but also it's perfect for this film. I love the way everything looks in this. There's a house location they used, and then the hotel, but both of the house and the hotel were designed by the same architects, which was pretty cool. Between the two, it kind of flowed nice with the design elements of the place. But I love aesthetically how this place, how everything is designed in this film. Nathan's house it's so cool. I know like the glass walls and the underground, kind of the darker moments, it's all the Pinewood Studios, but any of the landscape shots, I mean, this place was a dream to walk around and visit. It was incredible.
What was the temp like when you were there? Real feel.
I mean, so it's kind of up in the mountains. There's like fjords and not far from a glacier. And the water was freezing cold. I mean, we were probably in the 50, 60 degrees, nothing insane, but it was perfect.
Man alive. Yeah, it's gorgeous. I'd love to stay a night there, walk around,
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It's a dream. Lighting was amazing.
I mean, the film only had a $15 million budget, which it feels insane.
Gareth Edwards homage.
I was gonna say
Stupid.
the same
God.
thing. Oh my God.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Pardo, next on your list?
So I want to talk about Nathan, Oscar Isaac's character, a little bit. I I think there's parts of like the dialogue and the conversations that he has with Caleb throughout this movie that are good and compelling in different ways and make it believable that like he actually did this. Even if he is kind of like a jerk and not somebody I would necessarily want to spend any time with. But I do wish, like I said earlier, how this like gives me Frankenstein's monster vibes. I wish it like leaned more into him like doing this actual work of like creating it. Because I think there's this really good tension of him being good or evil in this, of like, in some ways, like he's like, you could see him like he's a genius who is doing good work to like create this amazing technology. Or you could be like, well, no, these are a consciousness that he's creating, that he is imprisoning and torturing and, you know, raping. And like, this is a hell that he's, you know, creating a conscious person in this prison and, you know, performing these experiments on them. Which is horrible. And so I wish like that idea had been explored more, rather than most of what I came away with is like him just being like a guy who wants to drink all the time.
Right.
Which seems like a weird like subplot as well in this. It's like, I'm not really sure what the message is in that, or like why, other than like he falls asleep so Caleb can go and do his thing. Like the only thing I could possibly grasp from that was that like maybe it's a fact that like people can be extremely talented and do great things, but also have like serious flaws at the same time, which I guess is kind of compelling. But I wish there was just like more from that, because I really like Oscar Isaac in this, even though they like shaving his head is a travesty.
I thought he looked great with that beard, though. Hell of a look.
I mean, the beard looks great, but he has like the best hair in the biz.
He really does.
This was maybe pre-Oscar hair era, you know? Could be.
He never had
I also
hair
think like
before.
he almost had too much personality for like a billionaire who could make cyborgs. Any like if you listen to any billionaire talk that has a shred of intelligence, you want to just jump off a bridge. You cannot listen to them talk for more than 30 seconds. They have no speaking skills, public speaking skills. But this guy is like essentially like normal. Like he's working out.
Right.
You know, he's working up a sweat. He's drinking beers with the boys. It's just like, I want to see him in like a scientist smock, because it just wouldn't work. Or whatever he's wearing, you know, building a robot. So it's almost like he's too normal to be the guy that does this.
Yeah.
How about when he says, where he hacked every cell phone and he worked with the cell phone companies to compile his, essentially, I guess, a large language model from just everyone's cell phone on the
Dark Knight homage.
That's exactly what I was going to say. God.
You hacked every cell phone? And he's like, yeah, I did. The cell phone companies were in on it. I blackmailed them. Like, come on. They're like, oh my God, please. No. Also, Caleb, imagining having to explain an Oppenheimer quote to the CEO, billionaire Blue Book owner. Caleb, wake the F up. You are an idiot. God.
All I want to do is just agree with Proto that I would love to have seen him building these machines, and like, not because we have to take his genius kind of like at face value. We don't see him make anything. We see just kind of the end product already. So I really, really wish that there was at least some sort of like, because the film, you were right, Slim, it starts so fast. We're instantly introduced to Ava, and Caleb's already doing the test, the Turing test. And I just wish we got more backstory on Oscar and his character.
Why did he shave his head? You know?
Actually, I do know that answer. In the documentary, they were talking about how he's lived away as a hermit building these robots for so long that he would have also have been like disheveled and had a giant beard and long hair and would not have taken care of his like outward appearance. But because Caleb was coming, the reason his head's freshly shaved is because he shaved it all off before Caleb gets there. That's what the the costume designer's story about behind the shaved head was.
Interesting. I thought maybe he was filming Apocalypse, X-Men. Maybe he was getting ready for that role. Remember that?
How close to Force Awakens was this?
No idea.
What year are we in?
Force Awakens was like 2012 Force Awakens?
This was 2015.
I could be wrong. Oh, 2015 was Force Awakens?
Same year.
Oh,
Wow. You do the math. Danny, final point?
I think I've said everything that I've wanted to say. I think because it doesn't stick the landing with the ending for me, I'm at 4 stars still. Yeah. I don't like how it ends. I really didn't like the climactic end of it. I didn't feel satisfied with it. But I do enjoy this film, and I think Alicia is the best part of it.
Pardo? Final thoughts?
I think, like I said earlier, Caleb and Nathan are very unlikable to me in this movie for the most part. And Ava is very likable and like the most compelling part of the movie.
Yeah.
But she's actually in it the least. So I guess I'm just kind of rattling off some things I wish was different about the movie. So I kind of just wish there was more focus maybe on her character. Really, more focus on Nathan and Ava and less on Dorkwad Caleb is my point. What else do I have? You're all freaked out because it's super cool. Funny line.
Funny line.
Off with. Yeah, he was so down to earth that it just didn't feel right. Like this guy is too charismatic and too much of a people person to be living alone for this long.
I mean, has anyone ever heard Jack Dorsey speak or Mark Zuckerberg? Right?
No.
You want to spend a week with those people? I don't think so.
At one point, Nathan says, "I'm sorry, I'm not going to do that." Is that a direct line from Hal from 2001?
Oh.
I can't remember if Hal says that exact line, but it sounds like it.
Interesting.
Sorry, I'm not going to do that, Dave.
That does sound exactly like it.
I love the room where he takes Caleb in to show him the brain that he built, him calling it wetware.
That was cool.
Yes, some of the dialogue in there was so cool. That was such a well thought out idea of how this guy would do this and how it could possibly work. It felt half real, and based in facts, which was cool. Caleb saying, "I'll just go in and reprogram the security protocols." Caleb, what are you talking about? What? Such a stupid idea. Yeah, I'll just open up a command line and I'll just reprogram them all. What? So stupid.
You know what I just realized? We're talking about how he was so taken by this woman, and presumably he's had no relationship for some time. I just realized that everyone texting him at the start of the movie, weren't they all women texting him congratulations? Was he in the friend zone?
I think you're
with
right.
all those women,
Yeah.
probably.
He was friend zone.
Yeah.
Finally, he's going to be gone for a week.
Caleb, let me know how it goes, Caleb.
I thought the ending. I remembered it being more confrontational.
Yeah.
So I was actually surprised where she doesn't even really face Caleb. Or there's no
She doesn't even look at him
real
barely.
moment. Yeah, it's kind of she just walks out and leaves. I thought I remembered him being trapped in her room. So it being kind of the old switcheroo, but it really wasn't like that. It was, to me, it was kind of less impactful, that it wasn't as, I guess, her making that choice. Even the end there, she's in the elevator and right before the door closes, she looks over at him. I almost kind of wish that she didn't even look at him at all. Because I guess her looking over at him almost makes you think that she's for a moment second guessing herself, which would make you think that she's conscious, Whereas if she didn't look at all, it would feel like, oh, she's still very much a robot who is just manipulating him. So I don't know, I guess. But yeah, on rewatch, I'm at 3 stars for this. I dropped a star. It just didn't really land for me as much this time.
How when he freaks out and wonders if he's a robot, and then he cuts up his arm.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
Like,
I couldn't watch.
You couldn't have just cut your finger or something. Like you could have just
Right, chill, man.
done a little
One
bit.
wrong move. There's
less
no
blood.
hospitals around. We know this.
Yeah, seriously. I don't even know how he didn't pass out from that,
Oh,
right? Or potentially die.
it was a gushing wound.
I'm so sick of this guy. Still confused about how she charges. Need more information on that. The other thing I really liked was that like speech, that story he told about the semester on AI theory, Mary in the black and white room. You know, when she like knows everything about color, but the room she's in is black and white. That was pretty cool. Despite all my druthers, I'm still 4 stars for Ex Machina. The first 3 quarters I think are, you know, probably the least strong. But it won me back towards the end. I liked how she was just completely manipulating him into escape. Didn't even really give a crap about Caleb. Just like presumably all his other female friends, unfortunately. And I mean, does he just die there? You know, is he just bones? Is everyone just bones in there? He can't hack the computer. He's going to have to, you know, hack the mainframe to get the heck out of there. If he can.
We need a sequel.
I also liked the main office that Nathan was like watching on the monitors, and just the wall was Post-it notes. That was a pretty cool visual.
It's a lot of Post-it notes.
It's a lot. I mean, you can't even read those with the amount of red light in that room. There's no, you're hurting your eyes long term. Okay, we have a letter, I believe. Looked like a long one from Ismail. Let me see if I can pull this bad boy up.
Okay.
He could use an Apple Vision Pro. We haven't even talked about the Vision Pro.
We don't need to talk about that.
Save it for the uncut, everybody. All right, Ex Machina subject line. Hey, 70mm boys. Oh, just by the way, you can leave us a letter or a voice memo at 70mmpod@gmail.com. Wanted to send this email that I previously sent to the movie mixtape podcast shout out and thoughts I vocalized in Real Latinos. Wanted to get you 3 thoughts. It's about computers and emotions. I have loads of thoughts on this as I studied computer science for my master's, specifically on artificial intelligence and effective computing, the intersection of emotion and computers. I can go deeply into the subject, but I'll leave you with one interesting bit of information to ponder. What does it mean to be human? Humans have consistently tried to differentiate themselves from other species and find how we are unique better than others. An example is that people think we are superior to animals because of opposable thumbs, intellect, and communication. Both computers have posed a serious threat to what it means to be human based on our own criteria. Thanks to robotics, we can get dangerously close to what humans look like and are capable of, sometimes surpassing it. Thanks to artificial intelligence and machine learning, we have now seen computers can be smarter, beat humans in games, and think for themselves. Thanks to natural language processing. This is just, Ismail's just throwing his masters at us in this thesis here. We're totally better than computers because we can feel and have emotions. But do computers have emotions? We have now gotten to a point where computers can read human emotion and interpret it, and also display human emotions, both things that humans are pretty good at. So if a computer can understand and display emotions, does it not also feel those emotions? One could argue that it's just a data set that we feed to the computer to understand. It's not organic. But don't we do the same with our children? Babies learn from observing others how emotion works in interactions. The crazy thing is we'll never know. This brings up the famous line, cogito ergo sum, which translates to I think, therefore I am. I know I can think and feel, therefore I am human. I can trust that both of the lovely hosts of this podcast can think and feel. What does that mean? Both of the lovely hosts of this Oh, that's from the movie mixed. What is this BS? Cut and paste job here from Ismail. Final sentence. Well, that's the crazy question. Will we ever know unless one of us actually is or becomes a robot? So the answer is, I don't know. Lol. Love y'all. Love the show. Gracias, Ismael.
LOL.
There you have it. We did talk about that.
Was there a question in there for us?
There was. Do computers have emotions? Or are they just simulating emotion? Proto, your answer in 30 seconds or less.
Sometimes things work on my machine and not on other people's. Are computers conspiring against us? As Ismail said, I guess we'll never know, unless they can tell us otherwise. But yeah, I mean, all this stuff is great, right?
It's amazing.
It's great to ponder. I don't have any answers, but it's fun to think about for sure.
Danny, do they have emotions?
I don't care. If I can be honest.
All I can say is I was at the supermarket, and thanks, Ismail, for the letter. I was at the supermarket today with my son, James, looking for aged cheddar cheese. The ones that are like, we got aged cheddar cheese a while ago that had like crunchy bits in it. And we're not like cheese experts. We have no idea what that meant. So we went and we were looking for like aged cheddar cheese. And he's like, we got to make sure we get the crunchy ones. And I was like, I don't know what that is. So I opened up ChatGPT 4. I said, what's an aged cheddar cheese that is a bit crunchy or salty? And my boy or gal or non-gender conforming ChatGPT friend said, hey, Matt, it sounds like you're talking about aged cheddar with those crunchy bits, often referred to as crystal formations. These crystals are actually a type of calcium lactate, and they develop in the cheese as it ages. And then he told me 3 different brands of aged cheddar cheese to look for in the cheese aisle. So,
wow.
Do robots have emotion? I'm not sure, but if they can help me find aged cheddar cheese faster in the supermarket,
you got a friend in ChatGPT.
Okay. Next week is Proto's pick for Faves Month Volume 2.
Yeah.
And that's First Man. Damien Chazelle. Their boy.
I have it logged.
I don't see it. I have a lot of friends that have logged this.
This is BLB for me.
Radley Relics. Our dear friend. 3 stars. That could be trouble.
This is a rare Matthew review.
Yeah.
Oh.
Episode.
I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, this is a very rare.
What year is that from?
2018, baby.
Podcast Godfather, Matt Buchanan.
4 paragraphs.
This was his last Letterboxd review.
Get out of here. You don't know that.
He hasn't reviewed any. I'm looking on the inside.
You hacked into the mainframe like Caleb.
I'm hacking. I'm changing the codes. Everyone's locked out.
I'm thinking of Danny in front of a computer mainframe just hacking slowly, and it's the silliest thing I've ever thought of.
Oof.
Where's this streaming, First Man? Is this anywhere?
This is not streaming, unfortunately. It's never been streaming.
It's never been streaming?
Everyone's got to put their money where their eyeballs are, okay?
This is a rental. Is it a rental in 4K at least? Can we confirm?
Yes, there is a 4K.
Yeah, it is a 4K.
Yeah,
out there.
It's actually cheap on Apple TV. I think the 4K to buy is like $8.
Have mercy.
Make an investment. Make an investment in your digital library.
I forgot to say hello to our patrons this week. I apologize. Jack and Dana all joined this week to get access to our Discord, discounts on prints. Just a reminder, by the time this episode hits the main feed, Hunger Games is out for supporters only. We talked about it all. We talked about PETA. We talked about PETA in the rocks.
I had to think about what you were talking about. Who's PETA? Fuck it. I forgot everything I said.
The name. Oh my God. What a name. Just step one, his name. Just it's hard to get past. Mosh in chat says First Man is a $14 disc on Amazon. Okay. Closing thoughts, Proto episode 203, Ex Machina, as we move forward to Faves Month Volume 2.
Well, I guess my closing thoughts was going to be that it's First Man isn't streaming anywhere. But we already covered that. So, yeah, I don't really have anything else other than we're going to be in each other's arms.
Oh my gosh.
In like less than 48 hours. And we've got some things planned. Okay.
We got some things cooked up, folks. So if
there's
you're
a
on our
reason
Patreon,
I haven't watched any other movies this week, okay?
We'll see everybody next week for First Man. $70mm is a tape deck production featuring original artwork provided by Danny Haas. Spiritual guidance and V'ger, the robot who loves movies, provided by Pertalexis. Producer at large, Dale_A. And music composed by Cinematrix. Prints and other merch are available on 70mmpod.com. This episode was mixed, edited, and produced by me, Slim. Support our Patreon for access to our VHS Village Discord to talk movies with new friends, access to our exclusive episodes in the 70mm vault, discounts on merch, uncut episodes, and a physical membership card mailed to you. To check out other Tape Deck podcasts, find the link in the episode notes. And if you'd like to support our friends at Letterboxd and upgrade to Pro or Patron status, you can do so with a 20% off discount using the links on 70mmpod.com. Goodbye.
This is a Tape Deck podcast.